We got just a few minutes, guys. Just a few minutes, and we'll be getting started here. I got a great show for you guys today. Got plenty of news to talk about, and plenty of exciting stuff to go over. So stick with us. Just a couple more minutes, and we will get to rocking, baby. Vote on the poll while you're waiting. Couple more minutes, guys. Couple more minutes. What's going on, guys? We are here, baby. We are here. I got the door open today. It's nice and cool outside. The fan is on. It's time to kick back, relax, and we have an awesome show for you today. The team and I put together an amazing show tonight. I got to give my first huge shout out to Dan Bob Dan, the greatest moderator alive. Tonight's show is dedicated to him. He brought all of this news. I asked him, since we're going to be doing something new, since, I have a family here and I'm always so busy, that to help pinpoint a lot of the best news. Now, I do some reading on some of the news and stuff like that out there, but he has pinpointed some of the best news that we could bring you today. So huge shout out to Dan Bob. If it wasn't for this amazing community, we would not have such an amazing show. And so I always like to give my gratitude. So I just wanted to start by saying that. First of all, good morning, guys. What's going on? It's good to see everybody here. Love seeing it. We've already got quite a few people in the building, baby. What's going on? Good morning. We got Nylish, Dan, Bob, Dan. Good morning. Good morning. I know B. Stewie is in the Discord currently. If you guys haven't, vote on that poll. The question is, would you take a trip to the International Space Station if you were in good health, not knowing how long your stay might be? Meaning you could be up there for a day, you could be up there for 3 weeks. That's the real question, and I'm curious. I'm curious what you guys would actually do. I just voted on the poll as well, so we'll see. Be very interesting to see what you guys say. What's up, B. Stewie? What's up, Jimmy? Good to see you, man. So we're gonna do something a little newer today. Our main topic is how the NASA astronauts that are in Boeing, right? They went up there, I think it's the Starlight or Stargazer, that went to the ISS through Boeing. They sent some astronauts up there. They can't bring them home. So I did a little research too on how often this happens and when they might be coming home. But we got some news for you guys today, and we will just start off right off the rip with Eli Lilly. We're going to bring this up for you. This is through Yahoo Finance. So if we bring up LLY, which is EY Lilly. Eli. I say EY. LLY or Lilly, right? Now, if you guys remember, I actually called this breakout right here because this was a very long breakout. It created this beautiful uptrend. It started following a 21-day moving average. I didn't play this because it has a 3.6% average daily range. But look at this beautiful uptrend. We could have played this. It was just absolutely tremendous. It held on to this 10-day moving average for so very long. And then, of course, we had these wicked sell-offs and it started to fail. But we had a big jump up on this news catalyst here. And you can see they had a big bump up on earnings, and they also had a huge bout of volume. So I'm just going to read verbatim of what we got here. Oh, boy. So this is shares of Eli Lilly, or LLY is the ticker symbol. We can just leave the ticker symbol right there so that way you guys can actually see what's going on. And I'll read this to you. So shares of LLY are jumping in early trading. The drug maker reported their second quarter results that handily beat the street estimates. And usually that's what happens, guys. If you have a beat on estimates, a lot of the times what will happen is you'll get a surprise. You know, if the streets are surprised, streets meaning the Wall Street is surprised by the earnings, you'll get a big gap up here. Okay, so we have the company also raised its full year earnings and revenue guidance, meaning they're projecting for the future to make more money. They benefited from strong sales of its GLP-1 drug, Monjaro or Jaro, I don't know if I'm saying it right, and Zepbound. Yahoo Finance Healthcare reported Kalamani breaks down the results of the video above. For more expert insights, yada, yada, yada. So they have a new drug that came out. They beat the overall market here, and that's why we have a big gap up here. Now, it gapped up over all of its moving averages. It looked really, really nice, and then it pulled back here. So we need to see if it's going to create new higher lows or if it's just going to continue to sell off with the overall market where it sits. We will see very, very soon. Now, this story I found very, very interesting, guys. I think that we all can relate to this next story. So this is going to be on WBD. It's going to be on Netflix, NFLX. It's going to be on Disney, DIS. And these are all going to come into correlation. So if you kind of look at all of these, you'll see Disney's way, way, way down. Netflix is a huge leader in the overall groupings of this market. As you can see, they're way up here. And then we have WBD. So keep these charts in mind. You can see WBD has plunged here. And that's what this news article is on. So WBD is Warner Bros. And it talks about how their shares have plunged. And we're going to go over exactly why. And I think you guys will be able to relate to this. I know that I could when I read this. So let's just go over this. So Warner Bros. Or WBD shares plunged on Thursday, today, after the entertainment company recorded an almost a $10 billion second quarter loss, which is absolutely catastrophic, guys. Catastrophic on that loss. What's going on, Yosef? I see you in here. Tainch, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Love seeing everybody in here, man. This is great. But yeah, they lost over $10 billion on their second quarter loss. They were hit by a write-down in the value of its cable networks. Now, I don't know if you guys have done this, but when I bought my new house here, about 13 years ago, I bought cable, I think, one time, and it was because they gave it to me for free on a package deal. All right. And so I paid for that cable, and then after the freebie was over after 6 months or however many months they gave it to me, probably 3 or 4 months, I canceled the cable. I don't need the cable. I just want your internet. And so I've only been paying for cable internet, never paid for cable TV. Why? Because of Netflix, because of Hulu, because of YouTube. I don't even watch Netflix or Hulu. I can't sit down that long unless it's something that I can really get into, and that drama BS I don't. Right? So I watch YouTube. I watch Netflix sometimes with the wife. But this I feel like has been a very long time coming, guys. So let's just carry on. The company posted a $9.1 billion non-cash goodwill impairment charge from its cable network segment, showing that CNN and TNT, amongst others, continue to be disrupted by streaming services like Netflix. And that's why we went over Netflix. You guys can see Netflix right here is really doing well. You know, it's doing what the opposite of what WBD has been doing. So let's continue. The company's fortunes don't look much brighter either after its TNT support unit last month lost out on the lucrative 11-year media rights deal shown NBA games. So now they're losing sports in this as well. And let me know if you guys are paying attention in chat. Let me know. Are you guys paying for cable? That's a real question here. Are you guys paying for cable? You know, I really would like to know. I know I don't pay for cable. I haven't paid for cable in years. I think it's going to lose all value. I think cable is on the way out. I think, you know, if you are stuck in the cable industry, you're losing out. It's going to be... Now, radio is still prevalent. It's still there because everybody can access it. But I feel like you don't have to pay for radio. It's free. So people are still listening to the radio from time to time, but it's not as lucrative as the podcast and as your YouTube music or different other Spotify's and stuff like that, where people are getting everything for free. You can pick any song that you want, any podcast you want, and you pay a small minimal fee. Where cable, not only are you paying a nominal fee, but you're also getting stuck watching a ton of ads. That's one thing I didn't like about Hulu and Netflix so much is, not only are you paying for their service, but you're also having to watch ads. And if I'm paying for a service, I don't want ads. That's why I pay for YouTube Premium, because then I don't get ads. And that's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? The only ads I get are from people like myself who are trying to generate revenue from what they are doing, that's totally fine. And speaking of which, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you guys want, go to that link tree in the description down below. You can join our Discord. It's absolutely free. And of course, if you want to use the charting platform that I use for everything except for my brokerage, is this right here. This is TraderView. Click on TraderView. It's a free link. You can use it for absolutely $0 and 0 cents. But if you want to upgrade and use the Essential program, you use my link, you get $15 off, and it helps me in the long run. Nalani says no cable for him. Good, yeah, same here. I think it's a big reason why Warner Bros. Is going to go down. It also goes on to saying Warner Bros. Discovery second quarter loss winded up to $9.99 billion from the $1.24 billion last year, while revenue fell $9.71 billion from $10.36 billion. Analysts polled by Visible Alpha anticipated a loss of $562.7 billion on a $10.17 billion in revenue. So the cable networks across the board are struggling. Disney on Wednesday said its combined streaming business of ESPN Plus and Disney Plus and Hulu was profitable for the first time, but said revenue at its linear TV networks fell 7% year over year in the third quarter, and shares fell. So if you guys see, if you are linked any which way to the cable industry, your profit margins are starting to fall. You're not gaining any revenue, so it's a dying business. So you're going to start seeing this stuff get cut off. You're going to start seeing cable. Cable is going to just end up being a thing of the past, right? It's going to be dated with our VCRs, right? Warner Bros. Discover share sank 8% to $7.07 soon after the opening bell today. They are down almost 40% this year, guys. That's crazy. That is crazy. So that's my Warner Bros. Story there. So yeah, they're fine. I'll be honest with you. I think the only people that are watching these stories, that is watching cable, are going to be your old fogies. Like no offense. Like I feel like my grandmother, who is a great grandmother now, is the only person still watching cable. And she's watching, her soap operas and baseball. That's the only thing that she's watching, So, go Detroit Tigers. So, all right. So that's our story on Warner Bros. It looks like Warner Bros. Or WBD, they are going down. WBD is heading to the sell side, and anything that has to do with cable, like Disney, yes, they have stated Disney Plus, they have Hulu, they have all that stuff, and it's finally profitable for Disney because they own ESPN, they own all that good stuff. But because 7% of their business is in cable, they're losing money on that. They're losing money. So WBD is down she goes. And guys, if you were playing the game, as I always say, nothing good happens, or my grandmother always says, nothing good happens below a 200-day moving average. And that's what you're seeing right here. This is why we don't try and catch falling knives. This is showing no proof of concept. And you're going, well, it's a huge business. They're too big to fail at $8.30. Well, now they're sitting at $7.02. I don't know how much money you're going to keep investing. Now this thing is up over 4.8% average daily range, but it's not something I'm betting on. The only thing I can see is if they get like a buyout and somebody takes over all of the things that they own, like all the cartoons, all the, all the things that they own that they have share the long-term shares over. Like nobody can use certain content of theirs because it is Warner Bros. Stamped. But I don't know how many years. I think it's like 10 years, and they can use all their stuff for free anyway. So we'll see. you know, we'll see what happens, but all I know is WBD and Disney are going down, and we'll see if anything is to come of them. And let me know, guys, do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you think that cable is through, or do you think there's still going to be a use for cable in the very, very near future? Sandra McDonald says, I have Dish, but moving to Hulu and YouTube. Yeah, see, you know, and Nalani says no cable. B. Stewie says, yep, don't watch regular TV anymore. Yeah, guys, it's a thing of the past. It's a thing of the past. You know who I want to know who still has cable? Dan Bob. Dan Bob, are you using cable right now? That's come on, let me know. Dan Bob, are you watching cable? All right, so that's our Warner Bros. Now, we have something that's going to go hand in hand here. So I want you guys to pay attention to this first part. This title is Market Mayhem Has Calmed Down, and here's what went down. So I went over this a little bit. Jimmy Bright says he only uses cable for the internet. So yeah, I agree with you on that. Only for the internet. So we're going to go over this market mayhem. We're going to go over what exactly happened, why we got such a big sell-off, and then the next piece of information is the worry that is coming after this, okay? So let's just go over this. So what happened, okay? The S&P 500 tanked 8% from its July 16 peak, and we seen it all happen, guys. This is why we all come in, we get together, we see what happens in the S&P 500, so we're well aware of what happened. I don't even need to show it to you, but we'll do it anyway, just so we have a clear idea of what's going on in the overall market. So we got right here, off the top here, they're measuring off the July highs, and if you pull back, you can see, well, now the lowest actually it went was 9.62, but this story, they're giving it, I believe, somewhere around that 8%, which is, you know, roughly in this area. So that's what we're going off of. Okay, guys, big pullback here. They're pulling it off of this, because this is where that big pullback was, okay? So keep a very close eye on this while I read this story. So this is where the S&P 500 plunged. 8% from its July 16th peak, okay? So pulling way back, 5,200 points at Wednesday's close. The tech-heavy NASDAQ composite has tumbled 13% over the same period. Well, Bitcoin and others have also plunged 16 and 31% respectively since late July to revisit their February lows as well. NVIDIA, the microchip maker that has become the star stock of the artificial intelligence craze, has crashed 30% from its intraday peak of 141 on June 20th. It's went all the way down to $99 at Wednesday's close. The sell-off slashed its market value from over $3.2 trillion to $2.5 trillion. That is a crazy adjustment for that. So what happened, guys? The market rout reflects several headwinds converging to spook investors. So there is some big things out there, three main things that they're bringing up. And one of them is that jobs report that we brought to you right away. Right away, we brought this to you. I actually have it in Discord. I said, whoa, this is going to be bad for, this is going to be bad news for the overall market. I said it to you right away, right when it happened. But there were some other things that started to compile that we didn't really realize until later in the day. So Friday's jobs report showed the U.S. economy added fewer jobs than expected, and unemployment ticked up to 4.3%, its highest level since October 2021. The news stoked concerns on Wall Street that the growth is slowing and the company's profits could suffer. We told you that if we have too many people without a job at this point, because we already know inflation is on the way down, now if we start to lose too many jobs, we're going to see a recession because nobody's going to be able to hire, because nobody is buying, because nobody has a job. It creates this weird turmoil, okay? But on the other hand, we had the Bank of Japan declaring on July 31st it would hike its benchmark on the interest rate. Okay. Now, keep in mind, their interest rate has been very, very low. I think it was like at zero, pretty much. That nobody was having to pay anything. It was free money to borrow over there, basically. And they expected to further tighten. This was all because of inflation. They were going to further tighten its monetary policy. The announcement hammered the Japanese stocks and fueled global market sell-off as investors rush to unwind what they call a carry trade. Okay, it's centered on borrowing the cheap Japan money, right, and buying higher yield assets. And in this situation, it wasn't just, the American 10-year yield. It was all over the place. It says here, the cheap in Japan investing the funds in higher yielding assets overseas. So not just in America, but everybody was borrowing the yen and then buying something that made your money move up higher. So why use your money if your money is losing value? Why do that when you could, not even losing value, but it is losing value. But if you're buying, say you're borrowing money, say I go to borrow $100,000 right now, it's going to cost me 7% to borrow that money, when I could borrow my same amount of money in yen for 0.01% and then take that yen, am I saying it right? Is it yen with Japan's money? And then we buy a high yielding interest. So if I'm borrowing for 0.01% and then I'm buying something a fixed like 5%, right? That's going to make me money. It's an arbitrage trade, but in this sense, they're calling it a carry trade. Okay, so they once Japan started increasing those rates, it created a perfect storm. A perfect storm, man. It was absolutely terrifying because then everybody's rushing to the door going, oh shit, I have all this money in yen and now the banks are going to start charging me this money. So they're pulling their money. Every other investor that's using yen, is it yen? Now I got to look because I was reading the China story. Let's see, what is Japan's money called? Oh, I'm glad I've been saying it right. It is yen. I was reading the Chinese story, which we're going to be going here into this right after this. But yes, the yen. So everybody's borrowing the yen, and then the biggest issue is everybody's trying to unwind this yen. Everybody has yen, they want to get rid of yen, okay? And then it's the end, right? So everybody trying to sell this off, and then the central bank backtracked on Wednesday saying it wouldn't hike rates further now. So they essentially realized this shitstorm that they created and then go, whoa, you know what? We're not gonna hike rates any further. We're just gonna leave it at this, so their money just doesn't get completely, obliterated. So a combination of rock bottom US interest rates since the financial crisis and historic amounts of government spending after the pandemic drove the value of stock, real estate, cryptocurrencies, and other assets to record highs. But the Federal Reserve has hiked rates from nearly 0 to north of 5%. I didn't realize that, guys. They went from nearly 0 to 5%. Okay? This is the US. So 5%, yeah, in 2022, boosting the relative appeal of safe assets like savings account and government bonds and making it more costly. So here we went from nearly 0 to 5%. Okay, which shows the other assets are more willing for us to put our money into rather than speculative stocks, okay? That's boosting the real appeal of safe assets like savings accounts and government bonds and making it more costly for companies to borrow money for growth, okay? The Fed has held off on cutting those rates, and as inflation was well above its 2% target. We talked about this all the time. The Fed's interest rate is that 2%. So it has maintained pressure on the economy. So imagine if we're stuck at 5% and you can borrow at a much lower rate, that's exactly what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to take that 0.25%. You're going to want to borrow. They went to 0.25%. Wow, that's still much, much lower. It's crazy that they created such a storm. But I guess if they said that they were going to continue raising, nobody knows how high the Japanese were going to raise the yen. So yeah, 10 to 2.5. So it almost doubled, or it did double. 0.10 to 0.25. That's more than double, guys. That's terrifying. That's terrifying, especially if you're in it to win it, and the next thing you know, your assets have been cut more than half. So other factors include skepticism around the huge amount of money being invested with AI and minimal paybacks so far. So everybody's been talking about this AI. Everybody's worried about a bubble. And when we get a big pullback like this, people are thinking bubbles are starting to pop. So we have all this euphoria, we get all this push up, we get all this movement to the north side, and then the second something scary happens, everybody's going to be pointing the finger. It's kind of like that meme stock where Spider-Man's pointing at Spider-Man, pointing at Spider-Man, you know? Everybody's like, well, it's you, it's you, it's you, you know? So it's absolutely terrifying. Yeah, 2.5%. Thanks, man. I would love their interest rate. Yeah, I think we all would love that interest rate, right? And I think we'll be there soon. I think we'll be there soon, especially with everything that's going on now. I think they're going to be forced to start cutting here very soon. So, but yeah, it's like that meme stock where everybody's pointing at each other. You know, the Fed's pointing at Japan. Japan is pointing at AI, and AI is pointing back at the Fed. You know, it's like everybody's terrified, you know, of everything that's going on. So that's what we got going on. So this is the shitstorm that happened. This is the shitstorm that took place. Now this moves right into what comes next, right? So if now we're not too fearful, now we're not too scared, and we're getting these push-ups off the bottom, what's the next piece? What are investors looking forward and they're trying to price in now? Well, that brings up this right here, guys. This is what the markets are worried about now, and that's the yuan. Am I saying that right, Predator? The yuan or the yan? Let me know in the chat, guys. I'm going to learn all about all the different types of money and all the different types of monetary policy. I'm going to learn everything now that we're reading the news once a week. You know what I mean? It's a good time. It's going to be a good time. Dan Bob says, Mag 7 earnings have disappointed. Yeah, there was quite a few of them out there that didn't come in nearly as hot. So now that we went over all of Japan and the issues that they were having and everything that was going on there and why the overall market pulled back because of, you know, the Fed interest rates being so high, because Japan raising their interest rates and everybody having the arbitrage or carry trades having to switch back. Now our next fear, our next worry is, are the markets worried about a Chinese yuan sparking a new wave of turmoil? Well, let's take a little peeky gander. Monday's massive market sell-off that we just talked about, the worst in Nikkei, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but we're going to carry on, Nikkei, since Black Monday in 1987, was in part triggered by the unwinding of the Japanese yen carry trades. The next carry trade unwind could be the yuan. Gua said the head of the Asian research and ANZ told CNBC on Wednesday, pointing out that the offshore yuan already jumped against the dollar early on Monday as a knee-jerk reaction to the carry trade unravel. And you guys know sometimes we get ahead of ourselves in the overall markets, but you need to understand there is some outlining factors here. The carry trade strategy involves borrowing Japan's long-standing ultra-low interest rates to fund a higher yield asset elsewhere. The Bank Japan rate hike last week, however, jolted the market, forcing investors who borrowed their fund on the carry trades to liquidate their positions, setting off the global market rout. Now analysts and investors are jittery about the same exact thing happening to the Chinese yuan. China is also in a very low interest rate environment as authorities are trying to boost the country's flagging economy. The Predator, can you let me know what the Nikkei, thank you. The Nikkei. Did I say it right? Yeah, I think I said Nikkei. I don't even know, man. I don't speak Chinese, bro. No, do me a favor. Let me know, Predator, what is China's current interest rate over there? Let me know. So Nikkei. So I will make sure I can say all of these right. The worst on the Nikkei since Black Monday in 1987. So that is a pretty damn big sell-off right there, guys. So, but let me know, what is China's low interest rate as of right now? So if the overall investors are borrowing China's yuan, then the same exact thing could happen. It could unwind. So I wonder if people are trying to pull out already, you know. Obviously, that said it had a knee-jerk reaction, but is it going to carry on? That's the real question here. All right, now we're going to start getting into some good stuff here. Now, we have a Middle East crisis piece that I thought about going over. I read in on this, and, you know, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't like reading about this stuff. If you guys want me to read about this turmoil in the Middle East, if it's something that you think you would be interested in hearing, let me know in the chat. It's something that we can definitely go over, but if not, anybody is not interested into this, like if we don't get at least 3 or 4 people saying they want me to read this, I'm not going to read this because I don't know. I like to read more positive news. Not that I'm trying to be naive or I don't know. They call it ignorance is bliss, right? I know there's issues, there's tensions going on in the Middle East, but I don't think I have much control over any of that, and it's not as interesting to me as I want it to be. So I kind of steer clear of all of that. But if you guys want to hear about it, I think it's only going to better our sense of what's actually going on in the world. But I don't think the war in the Middle East, I'm going to make a ton of money off of knowing what's going on, but I could be wrong. Predator says, I believe as of July 2024, it's 3.35. Oh, wow. So it's actually pretty high, though. It's actually pretty high in China. So it is surprising to see that it's so high and it still had such a knee-jerk reaction. I can understand if it was really low, like very cheap to borrow, compared to, you know, the American dollar. Yes, it is still much cheaper, but is the risk reward really there? Is the risk reward really there? I don't know. So thank you for that, Predator. So as long as we don't have any naysayers, I don't think I'm going to go over the whole war in the Middle East tensions. I think we'll just stick to our fun treats here. So this is on Meta. So let's bring up Meta, guys. And I found this to be a really, really interesting story. So shout out to you, Dan Bob, for bringing up some really cool stuff here. As you guys can see, Meta has almost already fully recovered. It's above all of its moving averages right now, and it's looking like one of the best in the Mag 7 right now. It really is. And if you want to talk about leaders in AI, NVIDIA takes the cake, but now Meta is looking really, really interesting here. And so I read the story more than once. I'm going to read this to you guys right now. This is so cool, guys. And I really think that this handsome gentleman right here. Now listen, guys, hear me out. He does jujitsu, okay? I do jujitsu. I like the old Zuck. I like the Zuck, okay? I like the Zuck and I like the Cybertruck, okay? Maybe he'll come pick me up one day and we could do a nice roll. You know, I could choke him out. But all right, here we go, guys. This is really cool, so pay attention. The billionaire, Mr. Zuckerberg, my boy, my friend, has spent more than 20 years building his Harvard dorm project into a globe-spanning social media empire. He now looks to set and make Meta a clear frontrunner in the race to make AI a part of his consumers. Their lives by simply cornering them into using it. Now, it sounds bad, right? This kind of like gives it that turn, like he's forcing you to do this, but I think everybody's kind of being forced to use AI in one sense or another. So let me carry on. As the company reported second quarter earnings on Wednesday, so yesterday, Zuckerberg gloated about Meta AI. Its AI assistant rolled out earlier this year, being on track to achieve our goal of becoming the most used AI assistant by the end of the year. And you might be asking yourself, because I know I was at this point, what is it that they're using for AI? What the hell is it? There is a good reason why Zuckerberg is sounding so confident about that. Meta reported having 3.27 billion daily active users across all of its platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and Threads for the second quarter of 2024, giving it a user base that no one else can rival. It's also a user base that has remained close to Meta's family of apps over the years. The company's daily active users grew 7% year on year in June, while Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram users continually to sink more than 16 hours of screen time into the apps each month. 16 hours of screen time into the apps each month. That's absolutely nuts. And it's only getting worse. Like people, and I say worse, meaning like people are stuck to their damn phones, you know? And here I am, you know, on the computer, stuck to my damn screen. But, you know, I'm trying to give you guys some entertainment now. So stay on your damn phones, stay on your computers. Watch me, baby. But anyway, it carries on to say, in effect, then, that gives Zuckerberg a lot of engaged users to introduce AI-powered technology to. But instead of giving you the choice, Meta is implementing a strategy that provides users with no option to opt out of using its AI. This puts in a unique place to roll out new AI features the same way it rolled out for the Facebook wall in 2004, and it had users adopt it. It contracted users of competitors like OpenAI and Anthropic have to learn about product and seek it out. This hasn't been lost on analysts. After earnings, Mike Prowlix, vice president and researcher director at Forex, said, "It's a smart move by the company to effectively introduce Meta AI to its users by forcing them to use it." They keep using these very strict words. Nobody's forced to use it. Keep that in mind, guys. You don't have to use the app at all. What I think they mean to use when they say this is you're using it without being notified that, hey, you're using an artificial intelligent app. When I think they're just saying this to make it a little bit more interesting, but hear me out. I'll show you where it's at. While Meta boasts about Meta AI being on track for the most used AI assistant in the world, users of Instagram Messenger and WhatsApp cannot use it as it's literally they cannot not use it. It's literally the search bar on those apps. It's literally the search bar. If you're using the search bar, you're using his AI program. Okay? There are probably a few reasons why Zuckerberg is taking this approach. For one, Meta is spending billions of dollars on AI. So leaving adoption into the hands of users like you and me might not be the smartest thing for somebody who's spending all this money in AI to actually do, right? So why am I going to waste all my time on this? I'm going to make this so if you're searching something, you're using my AI, right? As the Meta CFO Susan Lee noted on Wednesday earnings call, the company's full capital expenditures by the end of 2024 are forecasted to be between $37 billion and $40 billion, with significant CapEx growth expected in 2025 to support AI research and product development. Conklin says Meta AI pops up in my Facebook app all the time. Yeah. Oh, does it? Does it actually say Meta AI, or does it how does it pop up? Because I don't use Facebook except for to kind of post my material. But is it? Have you used it like knowing that you used it? Is it something that that you like to use? Let me know. I'd really like to know, Conklin. And I want to finish this up really quick. So Zuckerberg also seems intent on showing users that AI can inherently make their experience of his apps vastly better. The CEO said on the call, and the technology is improving the quality of recommendations and driving engagement on Facebook and Instagram. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm going to be recommended something, right? If I'm going to be using an app and I'm going to be recommended something, I don't want to be recommended a Slinky because I don't care for Slinkies, but I'd rather be recommended something of something to help my users be more engaged, or a book on how to be more entertaining, or something like that has to do with jujitsu. So I'd rather be offered something that I am interested in. If they're going to show me something anyway, I'd rather be seeing something that I might want to buy. That's just me personally. Other people take this and they get offended and they go, well, they shouldn't know what I'm watching. They know, they heard me or whatever, but really I look it up on YouTube. So YouTube, it goes to Google. Google knows. If Google knows and they're sharing stuff, everybody kind of has a piece of this information of me, of what I'm watching, what I'm doing, maybe not what I'm saying, but maybe what I'm saying, but regardless, if I don't have control over that, I'd much rather them show me a kimono or a gi that I might buy rather than a Slinky or an airsoft gun that I'm not going to buy, right? So that's just me personally. So it says AI will be soon used to provide better targeting advertising services too. So again, if I'm going to be given something to watch where I'm forced to watch an advertisement before I learn how to fix my car, so I got to watch this 30 seconds of advertisement, I'd rather it be for something that I like to do, So that's just kind of how I feel it. I don't think it's hurting anything yet, but I know that there's implications that could be much further worse that I'm not bringing up. Let's see. Middle East is a mess. End of story. Yeah, Dan Bob for sure. Let's see. Norman Conklin says Meta AI pops up in my Facebook app all the time. It says Meta AI. Meta AI is quite impressive. You can ask it anything and the results are dialed in beyond just a search. Very cool, man. That's very cool. Very dialed in beyond just a search. Very cool, yeah. I like to see that. David, your video and audio isn't in sync. Ooh, that's not good. That is not good. I wish there was something I could do about that. Let's try and do this. Is that better? There we go. I think that fixed it. All right, let's keep on keeping on. Make sure you guys hit that like and that subscribe button. We're just going to do this really quick before I go on to my next story. So let's bring this up really quick. Smash that like button. And if you guys are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. We're trying to grow this channel to something of a vast majority. The question on the poll is, would you take a trip to the International Space Station if and only if you were in good health, not knowing how long your stay might be? So I would like to imagine between 1 week and like 3 months. Would you take it? It's 50-50 right now with 14 votes. So if you haven't voted yet, make sure you vote. I'm really curious what you would say. 50% says yes, beam me up, Scotty, and 50% say no, not a chance in hell. So it's very, very funny. I'm really curious what you guys would say there. All right. So let's keep on keeping on because I got a few more stories that I really would like to get through here. So just back to Meta, just though really quick. You know, I've been telling you guys this for a long time. Zuckerberg, when we were in a downtrend in that bear market, he had so much cash on hand. He was buying up a ton of things around him. Here, I'll just bring this up really quick. So we had this big downturn here, okay, in Meta. Oh, I'm sorry, not there. I'm not there, guys. Right here. So we had this big push up, and then we had this big pullback. When we were down here, Meta was buying up one company after another. It was crazy. And actually, no. I was correct, actually. I can't believe how long ago this was already. But when we were on this big bear market right here and we kept going lower and lower, Mark Zuckerberg was reportedly buying everything up. All these big techs that were making all these new innovations, he was buying all these things up for the lens capabilities, for his headsets, you know, his Meta Quests. And he was buying up all these different technologies and pieces of technology. And he bought so many things up. And I was reading about good CEOs and good companies, when they have a ton of cash on hand, what they will do is they will buy up companies as the rest of the market is burning and they're on fire. This is when they take all their invested money, all their cash that they have saved up on hand, and they will buy up all these companies that feel like the world is going to end. And now look at this thing is a leader still in this overall market. And Zuckerberg is killing it in the AI sector, not giving users a choice, but putting that Meta, that AI into sorry, I'm reading the chat right now. You'd rather go hand gliding. I hear you on that. No, but I think he's doing an awesome job. And I really think, that that's going to have some huge implications on his tech stock. And, you know, if we can find a nice area to set up here, we might be able to take a nice tasty little trade on Meta, as it is showing very fruitful in the AI sector. Okay. So now we are going to go over the tech AI spending boom. I'm just going to read through this really quick. It's a very short article, but I just want to give you a little insight on this. This says why tech AI spending boom may not be what you think it is. So since we're going over all that AI stuff, I want to give you U.S. equities, GSPC, DJI, IXIC have begun to rebound after a sharp sell-off in the previous day's trading, closing the market ahead on Tuesday. Many questions remain as to how investors should play this bounce back, but one of them is, should investors continue to buy tech after coming down from previous highs? Now, before we carry on, I will say that tech has always led the U.S. markets. They have always done very, very well. Not very often do you see the overall tech not either A, leading the way or not doing well. So if we bring up the QQQs, you won't ever see this industry really heading lower without the overall market heading lower. And if you guys remember, this whole rebound here was led by the tech industry. Okay, this is not the S&P 500. This is the QQQs. It looks very similar, but that's because the biggest markets in this are the tech-heavy trades. So if we go to the market watch here, you'll look, wow, look how beautiful green that is. Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Google, Meta. These are the biggest stocks. These are the biggest areas of technology as well. And you guys will have to understand, when you see these stocks and they start to head up higher, they are the tech industry. They are going to pull up the overall market. They are going to bring us higher. Okay, so that's a big reason why right away when they say AI, is tech, going to continue to come up after previous highs. Well, I think if the overall S&P 500 is, I think they are, but let's see what they have to say. Analyst Jackson joins Ask for a Trend to give insights into a tech sector and how it's performing. This is what he says. In terms of chief concerns this earnings season for tech CapEx spending, Alder relates back to Microsoft's and its recent earnings. What Microsoft said was, hey, we're actually a little bit more flexible than you may be realizing. Only half of our CapEx really goes into those fixed long-term 15 to 20-year assets. And the other half is kits, GPUs. Maybe they're going to be GPUs, maybe they're going to be CPUs, maybe they're going to be in-house chips. But the focus on flexibility in artificial intelligence, I think, is going to be a really good one. A key for the industry, and that goes a long way down to the software and all the way down to large language models. So when it comes to AI, guys, when it comes to tech, it's still going to be the front runner. We all still want our cell phones. We all still want our computers. We all still want our apps, our applications. We all still want large language models to help us do our work, to help us become better, more articulate human beings. It's a huge social, it's a huge social conglomerate for us as human beings to be more tech associated. Tech only makes everybody's life better. And in some instances, it can make it worse only if, just like anything else, you don't use it in moderation. Okay, there's a mental health capacity, I believe, to achieve homeostasis. It's nice to have tech, but if you overuse it, just like it's nice to have a few drinks sometimes, but if you overdo it, there's always that relation. And I don't know why I used drinking, because I don't drink personally myself. I don't do any drugs personally myself, but everything is okay in moderation, and same goes with tech. So that's the tech advancements there, a little piece of tech for you. And now we have our main story tonight. And I thought this was absolutely crazy when I read this. I think it is absolutely heart-wrenching. First of all, my heart goes out to the families that are out there. Of course, I do think that they are in good hands, but when you hear Boeing has astronauts up there, that's absolutely terrifying to hear. It really is. It's absolutely terrifying to hear, okay? Dan, Bob, you can quit telling people when my birthday is. No, I appreciate it. We're going to have fun on my birthday. Let's see, it's in 2 days, so we won't be doing much. I will obviously hop in here and say hello to everybody on my birthday, but we will be celebrating. I think take the family out for something to eat. It'll be a good time. So, okay. Let's make sure that we are caught up. Hopefully my lips are synced. I'll have to figure that out. Hopefully we're all caught up and everything's all synced in and looking good. Okay. This is our main story, guys. This is Boeing. All right. Boeing. They have 2 astronauts stuck up in the sky in ISS, the International Space Station. And that to me is one of the most terrifying things out there. NASA says Boeing's Starliner may not be able to bring astronauts home. The 2 astronauts who went up in the International Space Station, or the ISS, on Boeing's Starliner may have to come home on a different spacecraft, NASA officials said during a press conference on Wednesday. Let me take a little sip here, guys. Barry Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, who performed the first crew test flight on a Starliner, have been in space for more than 60 days, guys. When they launched on June 5th, they were only supposed to be on the International Space Station for about a week. That's crazy. That is crazy. Boeing and NASA officials have been resistant to exploring the options to bringing the crew home on another method, but Kenneth Bowersox, NASA's associate administrator for the space operations, said the team is considering it. More Boeing Starliner successful docks at ISIS after helium leaks and thruster issues. We don't just have to bring a crew back on the Starliner, for example. We can bring them back on another vehicle, he said. In the case that we have with the Starliner crew flight test, the option to either bring the crew home on a Starliner or to bring the crew home on another vehicle, we could take either path. Bowersock said there is currently more consensus needing amongst the team, but they are also getting more serious about evaluating our other options. So in this case, they're saying, well, we could probably bring them back on our Starliner. We could probably get our astronauts back for sure. No, we for sure could get our astronauts back. We're just leaving them up there while we figure things out. No. I mean, come on. They're currently consensus needing more among the team, but are also getting more serious about evaluating other options. Come on now. Wilmore and Williams are integrated with the Expedition 71 crew aboard the ISS, and Bowersock said that although it's helpful to have extra hands on board the station, they are using up more supplies meant for the ISS crew. They're up there eating the International Space Station crew. Steve Stitch, program manager for the NASA's Commercial Crew program, said NASA is considering sending SpaceX Dragon Crew 9 set to launch for the International Space Station in September, with only 2 of the 4 astronauts assigned to it. The spacecraft would carry extra spacesuits for Wilmore and Williams. However, the 2 would remain on the International Space Station until February 2025, when Crew 9 is set to return to Earth. Holy crap. Stitch said the proposed plan has not formally been approved yet. Our prime option is to return Butch and Suni on Starliner. However, we have done the requisite planning to make sure we have other options open, Stitch said. Stitch added that the Starliner does not currently have the ability to autonomously undock from the International Space Station. To do that, the Starliner, hear me out guys, this is nuts. The Starliner software would need to be updated, and the Boeing flight control team would need to undergo additional training. So we might be able to get you guys down on what we sent you up in, but we're gonna have to give the software a little bit of update, and then we're also gonna have to teach you guys how to undock and take it back down. What the hell is going on? In a statement in ABC News, Boeing said it's confident in a Starliner's ability to bring the astronauts home. So now they're confident, right? Crew flight test, it is currently a crewed mission, and we still believe in Starliner's capability and flight rationale. The statement read, if NASA decides to change the mission, we will take the actions necessary to configure Starliner for an uncrewed return. Starliner is part of the large commercial crew program at NASA, which is testing if Boeing spacecrafts could be certified to perform routine missions to and from the International Space Station. I just want to read a little bit more on this. Let's catch up on the chat. Oh, damn Yankees in here. Hey, what's going on, man? I was just asking about you. I was making sure you were okay. We didn't hear from you in a couple days, but I'm glad to see you in here. Let's catch up on the chat, and then we'll go over a little bit more of what's going on. Let's see. METU is meta leverage. Very nice. Let's see. We will be celebrating on Sunday, Dan Bob says. Cool, man. I'm excited. We will celebrate on Sunday. I'll let you sing happy birthday to me, Dan Bob. Dan Yankee, can you imagine being stuck in space? Dude, you know, I won't go too deep into this, but when I want to relax at night, when I'm really trying to drift off, I imagine I'm like lost in space in a spacesuit, just kind of like going out into the stars with like no hope behind me. I don't know. It's kind of a dark way to think about it. But I feel like that would be the like most relaxing way to go, right? Unlimited oxygen? No, I don't know. I didn't really think it through, but being lost in space would be probably the most terrifying thing. And I was talking to the wife today. Could you imagine being on the International Space Station and all of a sudden, like, you look down and you can see nukes going off, like on Earth, and you never know when you're coming down? She was like, yeah, but you're in space. You're in a safe place. I'm like, yeah, you're in a safe place, but you only have so much food, you only have so much time, and then you're gonna pass away. You know, like, what if you don't realize you're ever getting help? Like, you lose all communications. You know, you're up in space while there's like a nuclear winter down there, and like, oh my gosh, it's just there's a lot you can think about. Anyway, let's catch back up on chat. But yeah, damn Yankee, can you imagine being stuck in space, dude? I did do some imagining today, and it's Man, it's terrifying. It's really terrifying to think that. Boeing is a bad look for aerospace, but if you look at HWM, GE, FTAI, they are doing well. Yeah, absolutely, man. And, I think aerospace is a little different if you look at it in different realms. So, I think if you look at, HWM and we read about HWM, let's bring it up in here. Because I feel like HWM, where the hell is my my charting platform? Oh, there we go. So if we bring up HWM and we read about HWM, it says aerospace and defense. Let me bring this up like this. And we scroll down here. They are doing very, very well. You're absolutely right. It engages in the development and manufacturing of lightweight metal products and operates through the following segments: engine products, fastening systems, engineering structured and forged wheels. The engine products segment produces investment castings. I feel like they're making these pieces for the spaces, for things to go up in outer space, and they're also making a lot of other things, but they aren't actually going up. They're not trying to send missions up in outer space. You know what I mean? Where right now Boeing has a bad rap altogether on putting together their airplanes, and wheels falling off and doors flying off and paneling coming down and all this crazy stuff. And now we're letting them go into space. It's terrifying. It's well, hang on. No. If they can't do this right, why would we let them go to space? And now they have people stuck up there, So I agree that, HWM, aerospace in general, is doing really, really well. And B. Stewie, I know that you've been keeping a very close eye. GE is doing really well. But again, GE isn't sending people up into space. I think I'd rather them do it. I think I'd rather them do it. But I think they're just creating parts for people. And now I could be wrong, obviously, on that. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, B. Stewie. B. Stewie also says, Dan Bob says the Starliner project was supposed to show Boeing was a leader after their many of other problems the last few years. Yeah, I just don't think it was good timing. I don't think it's good timing. It's hey, we got all these issues going on. Now we're going to send people up to space, and we're going to prove to you that we're doing great. Oh, hang on. Yeah, we're going to have to leave those guys up there because something's going on. We got to update. We got to update our software. Come on, man. Now these guys are going to be stuck up there for months and months and months. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me to think that. What else we got in chat? The Starliner, okay, they better grow some potatoes up there like Matt Damon. Yeah, maybe they can get Matt Damon on the phone and they can figure out exactly how to do that. Yankee, dude. Yeah, prayers go out to all that are involved on the Starliner. B. Stewie says, I agree with you, brother. One thing I wanted to bring up, guys, I looked this up on ChatGPT. This isn't the first time that we've had people stuck up there, okay? There was an Expedition 6 in 2003. The crew Expedition 6 had to stay on the ISS for an additional 2 months due to the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster. The shuttle program was suspended, and the crew had to wait for a Russian spacecraft to bring them back. So in 2003, there was a Russian space station that actually brought that crew back. There was Expedition 9 in 2004. The return of Expedition 9 crew was delayed by a few weeks due to the concerns over the Soyuz spacecraft landing system. They eventually returned to safely, Earth safely. And then there was Expedition 56 and 57 in 2018. On October, the Soyuz rocket carrying 2 astronauts to the International Space Station experienced a launch failure. The crew had to abort the mission and return to Earth safely. As a result, the crew already on the International Space Station had to extend their stay until the next crew could be launched successfully. But I want to note that nobody was actually stuck. They're not stuck there. They're just waiting on something to be developed. So it can be terrifying. But what I think would be the biggest thing, the biggest thing is you're stuck in a confined space. You have to eat specific foods. You're shitting out of a tube, and the only hope you have is for somebody else to come save you. They have no capabilities of launching something, boop, 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 get on their computer and launch, hey, Matt Damon, we need some potatoes and a new spacecraft to come pick us up. They don't have those capabilities. They're literally trusting a whole team of other people to get them back home. You know, it's no easy mission. So it's just terrifying to be up there and having all your faith in humanity. You know, I'm not so much the person that has a lot of faith in humanity. You know, it's being repaired. It's being repaired, but I wouldn't want to trust a whole team of people to get me back. You know, especially Boeing. You know, like Boeing. Yeah, send up one of those airplanes to pick me up. So yeah, let's see. Someone would get that one. Yeah, for sure. I wish SpaceX would go public. Oh, yeah, that would be kind of cool. I agree with you, Dan Bob. Okay, so just to finish up this story here, guys, let me see if I can bring this back up without doing anything too crazy. Here we go. So I just wanted to do right here. NASA astronauts stuck on ISS say they feel confident Boeing Starliner can bring them home. Wilmore and Williams were originally scheduled to return on June 14th, but have since had their returns delayed multiple times, not just once, guys. NASA's astronauts stuck on ISS feel they're confident, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the new launch date has been set for May 25th, but the small helium leak was discovered by their service module, okay? Wow, so they've been up there for a while. Helium leaks and other thruster issues then threatened to delay the Starliner's docking. 5 days after the docking, NASA's Boeing said the spacecraft was experiencing 5 small helium leaks and at the same time said enough helium was available for the return mission. I think they use helium actually to like stabilize. They're like for the thruster stabilizers to keep them in a certain rotation. So if you got the helium leaks and all that good stuff, I could be wrong on that. But yeah, that's about all we have on the Boeing thing. And I think we're going to keep an update on that. And now that we said that, let's go ahead and finish this poll. We got some brave people out there. So my question for you guys was, would you take a trip to the International Space Station if you were in good health? Okay, not saying, oh, well, I have these issues or I wouldn't be able to make it because of that. If you were in good health, knowing that your stay might be extended. You don't really know how long. Say you were going up for a week, it sounded good, but you might be up there for 6 months. Would you go? We had 53% of you say not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell. 46% said yes, beam me up, Scotty. And nobody said polls are for nerds. So it looks like everybody's voting on the poll. We had 15 of you vote. We have some brave souls out there. We got 46%. So less than half. Most of you are staying here on Earth. I voted yes that I would go. I voted yes that I would go. I do honestly feel a little selfish for doing that, because I have a family here at home. So, if I could do it and the family would like encourage it, like, oh, you'll never be able to do this again. This will be fun, or this will be a great experience. You should go and do it. I would do it, but I do feel selfish saying that I would do it. I do. That's the dad in me. Okay. So do me a quick favor, guys. Take a little peeky gander at my screen. This is what we call self-preservation right here. Smash that like button if you haven't already. I'm going to refresh this page, see what we're up to. I think we got about 14 in here. We got 15 likes, so things are looking good. We've already completed this poll. We had 15 votes on the poll. Awesome job, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. And if you are new to this channel, we today are doing something a little different. We're reading the news. If you enjoyed this news compilation, please let me know. I would love to see your thoughts on this. I'd like to do this once a week. If this is something new, fun, interactive to you, let me know. And now we are going to go into the quick segment. Really, really quick, guys. We're just going to go over the overall S&P 500. Now, I drew all these lines out for you guys. I believe this was yesterday. We drew all these lines out. Now, look, we talked about this, guys. Here we are on the hourly. I told you if we break up through this, area, I expected resistance. But if we broke up through this, I expected the S&P 500 to go where? Right here where this next area is, 531, and it worked out absolutely beautifully. We had a little bit of resistance, I do believe, if we zoom in on this. We had a little bit of resistance. You guys can see in pre-market, it gapped up right here. Look at this. It gapped right up into it. We sold off. So there was that little bit of resistance. Then, bada bing, bada boom, we started to make money real soon. This thing started to take off, and it broke through. And where did we go? Well, we went to the next area of resistance. We sold off, but we held a new lower high on the hourly. And guys, that is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful thing. Now we close on a high note. We closed right at that area of resistance. The real question is, are we going to continue higher? I would love to see it going to continue higher. And just really quick before we go over the QQQs, click on this link tree. Dan, the greatest moderator live, has posted in the chat. You got our YouTube, our Discord, and of course the Trading View, the platform that you see me using behind you. You can get this for absolutely free. Just use my link in case you want $15 off for buying the Essential Plan. Now check this out, guys. We called this out yesterday. We went over all of these areas of resistance and support. You can see that support was held off strong. After we broke up through, we are in another area of resistance. That's A-okay. What is going to happen tomorrow? Well, two things can happen. I have two biases. First, we break through this resistance, which if we look on this platform here, you will see that it looks like we have already broke through this resistance. Let's take a little peeky gander. No, we did not. But you can see we are riding it. Look right here, guys. We are riding this resistance right up here at the top. We'll throw up the 5 minutes so you get a better understanding. Look at this, guys. We hit it once. We pulled way back, right? We traded sideways. We moved right back up, broke through the first area of resistance. We came up here, and now look, it's bonking its head on this area. Are we going to pull back here? If we pull back, I'd like to see another new higher low to show support. If not, then we break down further. But if we can break up through this area of resistance, this 530 area, 532 area, and continue to head higher, that's going to be great for the overall stock market. Look at this, guys. This might be the all-time low here, the new all-time low. And if it is, well, the 21-day moving average isn't too far behind. Same thing goes for the QQQs. We showed you the QQQs. We showed you the overall expected moves in the QQQs. And look exactly what happened here, guys. What a beautiful move. We showed that this was resistance. Now we pulled back, we pushed back up, and then we bounced off of it one more time. If we throw this up on the daily, you're going to see very, very clear all the resistance areas that we put in here. Okay, right here, we bounce right back up, and now we're at that area of resistance. I told you towards the end of the day, this resistance was real, and it was holding that area of resistance. It started to pull back towards the end of the day right here. It started to pull back there, and we had a little bit of a pullback. But by the end of the day, it found some support down here at this area of support and pushed back up. So we're kind of stuck in this ranging area, which is A-okay as long as we continue to make new higher lows. If it pushes up through here, I think we are going to see another bull run very, very soon. But of course, what do I want to see? I want to see a follow-through day, and I want to get above that 21-day moving average. Those are my two biggest speculations. Then, of course, we have the IWM, and people, this is looking okay as well. We are still below all the moving averages on the daily. So, I'm sorry, let me bring up the daily. This is the daily. We are still below all the moving averages, just below the 50, but still above the 200. So these moving averages, they need to come back down. We need to get back above them and have a follow-through day on volume on one of the biggest things like the S&P 500, the biggest ETFs like the S&P 500, the QQQs or the IWM. If we can see a push up in volume within the next 3-4 days here on higher than average volume, that's going to be the follow through day that we want. And then we can really start speculating on what stocks we're going to carry into this new bull run. Okay. All right. One last time, guys, if you do me a huge favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate everybody being here. And if you loved the new segment, if you loved the new news, and if you're just joining us right now, restart this. We just went over some amazing news. We did it all live for you here, and it was a blast. I really enjoyed it. I love going over the news, and if you like these new segments, we'll be doing them every Thursday night. If you want to be here for it live, hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you guys very, very soon. In the meantime, rewatch this video after we head out. I want to say thank you to everybody, and of course, another big thank you to Dan Bob. Bob Dan, the greatest moderator alive in the building, folks. What did he do? He brought us every piece of news. He liquidated everything that we needed to know into one segment tonight, and all I had to do was read it and make it sound fun. So thank you, Dan. I appreciate your time. So guys, one last thing, hit that link tree. It's in the comments right down here, right over, right this way. It's over here. Go look. Go down in there in the comments, click that link tree. You'll see we got everything on there. Everything that you need to survive in this market. Thank you guys so much. And after the outro, I'll give you a welcoming ushering you out. $1,400 in less than 2 hours. All right, guys. Bob Dan, of course. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you. Predator says, don't forget to shout out or acknowledge Swervo. Yes, sir. Swervo, huge shout out for you, brother. You couldn't make it tonight. He's one of our members in the Discord. He's out sick. He was messaging us about a sore throat today, and it's really unfortunate. He actually had to go to the hospital today because it got so severe. So big shout out. And Predator, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you keeping him in your thoughts and having me give him a shout out. So big shout out to you, Swervo. We hope you're feeling better very, very soon. We hope you're 100% within at least the next couple of days, brother. B. Stewie, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you, man. You're my day one, B. Stewie. My day one, Mickey Ficky. Who else we got? Oh, Yankee, baby. Yankee, we were worried about you. Glad you're here, brother. Glad you're here, man. Let's see. Shout out to Yosef. Yeah, Yosef, good to see you in the chat room, brother. And METU. I'm going to have to keep that in mind when we want to take meta to the north side, baby, because when it gets to rip, tater chipping, we want to be a part of that money making. Who else did we have in here today? Norman Conklin, my man. Norman's always showing up in here, man. I really appreciate you being here, Norman. Thank you so much for your time. Nalani, thank you so much. Jimmy Bright, you're an amazing dude. You're always here. You guys are always here. Nalani, Bright, everybody. You guys are awesome. Sandra McDonald, thank you. McDaniel, thank you so much, Sandra, for showing up, saying hello, and agreeing with me. You know, you got Dish, but hey, you know, screw cable. Cable's not going anywhere, and if you're a part of cable, it shows that the stock's probably going to go down. Robert Tainch, thank you so much for stopping in and saying hello, brother. I appreciate you and everybody else that joined today. Thank you so much. Good night, and good night. Jimmy Bright says, great show as always. News can be very interesting. Good. I'm glad that you liked it, brother. Good night, Nalani. Good night, Yosef, B. Stewie. Good night, Conklin. We'll see you guys tomorrow in the Discord. Tomorrow's Friday, though, so we won't have any lives and no meetings. We get to actually sit back, relax, and watch the money pile up, baby. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Peace.